This is L.A. Kendrick. We're back at it again from the House of Havoc, everybody, with part 3 of Miasma maze. This fun house attraction, haunted house attraction, spook house attraction, whatever you want to call it, has really taken its toll on everybody. We've lost Spalding, and we're down to Larnell, Latrice, and Sarah. And they've actually made a lot of headway. At this point, they're entering the maze again after, they've killed a couple of pumpkin-headed hillbillies in the back after they took the life of Spalding. So they're walking through the maze and Sarah's still crying, and they're trying to console Sarah and make sure that Sarah's okay and let Sarah know, hey, you know what? We got to get through this thing. We're going to get out of this, okay? And they're all having heavy hearts because they just lost their friend. And they're traversing the maze, trying to get out. And all of a sudden, they come to a clearing in the maze. And it's just a wide open circle, just a huge circle. But then when they notice when they get to the circle, everything's like at a stop. It's like everything stops moving. The air is like a vacuum. Everything is sucked out of that area. And with that being said, they kind of just look at each other because they're getting they're getting a real ominous feeling about where they're at and what's going on and how things are taking place. So they just kind of stare at each other and they move out further into the circle and they can see the house. And Larnell makes the comment, I thought that there were only 3 trials. This right here would be a third, and then the house would be a 4th. And Latrice says the same thing. And Sarah's looking and Sarah nods her head, yeah. And then they notice there's some weird designs in the circle. And Latrice says, I know what this is. And she said, this is a crop circle. You know, those things that are made by aliens. And they all just kind of shake their head. And their eyes are wide open because they're in shock. And then the commentator comes on the microphone and the speaker again, and he says, well, isn't this a bloody surprise here? This is quite unexpected. No way did we ever expect to see little green men touch down here. So this is an added bonus feature, I guess, because we've had nothing to do with this part of it. Excuse me. We've had bloody nothing to do with this part of it. So this is something that, I'm trembling to see what you blokes do with this. So, again, tally on, step up a lip, and keep moving forward. So they can kind of see eyes in the cornfield and some in the trees. And they all kind of stand back to back and they can hear the little shuffling sounds and they can hear all these different noises and it's making them trying to figure out what could be making those sounds. And as they see the eyes, something steps out from the cornfield. One of those little grays with the huge eyes, big head, slender, small body, and just a lifeless expression. And it just continues to make those little noises. And they're all just really trying to figure out what to do next. And they start backing up and they're grabbing their sickles and they're holding on to them. And Sarah says, I guess we'll have to fight our way out of this too, huh? And then Larnell and Latrice say, yeah, I guess you're right. We're going to be battling the rest of the night till we get out of this. He just said this wasn't part of the attraction. And so the alien creatures start moving in closer. And out of nowhere, Sarah screams. And as they look, there's two dragging her off, trying to drag her into the cornfield. And when they do, Latrice takes her sickle and she starts stabbing and swinging at the back of the head of one of the aliens. It grabs its head, it screams, and it runs off into the bush, into the cornfield. And it releases her. The other one sees this, and it takes off in the other direction. But when that happens, more come out from the cornfield. And they surround them except for the front, where the direction of the plantation house is. So they're all like, oh my God, we got to get to the plantation house. And these aliens are crawling, standing up, and they started moving really, really fast. So they heard Larnell, Latrice, and Sarah, after they help her up, they heard them forward, and Larnell said, we gotta go. Move, everybody move. So he's pushing the ladies forward, and he's running the back. He's running, off defense so that, they can make it into a safe, to the plantation house. And he's pushing them hard, and they're running, and they're going forward, and the ladies are, screaming and yelling, and he says, don't stop yelling. Control your anger, control your frustration, control your moods, okay? I know you guys are angry. I know you guys are scared. We got to be quiet. So they shuffle through the cornfield, and all they can hear is behind them chasing them. That's all they can hear is that sound. And it's chasing them through the cornfield. And they're almost to the house, and they take the lantern one of the lanterns that they had, and they slam it on the ground, and it starts burning the cornfield, and it cuts off. It actually aids them in their retreat to the house, and it burns, and the aliens don't come forward. They don't come through the fire. They kind of go around, but they can't come through. But this buys our group some time to go ahead and do what they got to do as far as getting to the house is concerned. And they do. They make it to the house, but right before they make it to the house, there's a scythe, a big scythe, like the Grim Reaper scythe, and it's glowing. And Larnell looks at it, and you can see the aliens coming behind him, but then at the house, he can hear moans and groans like something evil is in there. And the three of them stop, so they have death in front of them and death behind them. And they're really trying to figure this thing out as to how they're going to manage to make it through all of this. And they can't figure it out, but they better come up with something really fast. Because that $1 million is going to be pale in comparison to if they don't get their lives. Now remember, they didn't want the $1 million prize that comes with this. What they simply wanted was just a good exhibit. That's all they wanted. The $1 million is a bonus if they can make it. And if he's telling the truth. He said nobody's made it before, and they notice they don't see any bodies laying around anymore. They see some headstones and graves. Some of them unmarked, some of them marked. But they don't see any bodies. So that would tell them that nobody's made it as far as they've made it. And they've been out here in this cornfield for at least an hour. Fighting, trying to survive, scratching. Dirty, tired, and tattered. They've got one more obstacle to overcome. But again, they've got death in front of them, and they're being pursued from the back. They have no idea what's waiting for them in the plantation house. I'm going to leave it right there. This is part 3 of Miasma Maze. Remember, you guys, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit that like button. Get those thumbs up for me. All right? I have published work already out on Amazon, Barnes, Ingram, Nuke, and Kindle. Feel free to leave a donation if you want to, $1. I'm not really picky or not really greedy. Just anything to help pay for editing and things like that. On my Cash App, it is $outrage95. All work. It's copyrighted 2020. 20. And we try to do this weekly. Original horror stories, stuff that Hollywood doesn't give you. Hollywood doesn't give you original stories anymore. It's either microwave or warmed up stuff that's been done before, or it's like they don't look for the talent to make good movies anymore, especially good horror movies. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it right there. Like I say, join us tonight, right? I'll set the time up for you, but join us tonight. And remember, check the dark corners and recesses of your home. Check under your beds. Check your closets. If you happen to work at night in this scary month of Halloween, check your surroundings before you step outside, or when you step outside. Check under your cars. Because you never know what's lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A. Kendrick, bringing you the heavy.